Hello everyone, this is Finance 101 Excel in Excel Module 1. In the first part of this video tutorial, we'll learn how to create a worksheet. In the second part of the video, we're going to be learning how to format our worksheet so that we can enhance its appearance by changing the font size, color, alignment, etc. All of these changes are going to make our worksheet look more professional. So as you can see, I have the textbook instructions on the left-hand side again. Figure 146A shows me the unformatted worksheet. And the one on the right-hand side is the one that I made in the first part of the video. They look exactly the same. In this second part of the video, we're going to be formatting the worksheet. So it's going to look like figure 146B. This is our goal in the second part of the video tutorial. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to close the textbook instructions and maximize our Excel spreadsheet just so that we can see it bigger. I can have it on a full screen. As you're doing this, feel free to have the hard copy of the textbook with you to follow the instructions, or print out the pages that you need from your ebook, or you can have two different devices or two different screens. But for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to leave my Excel file up so that we can see it a little bit bigger. Using the plus sign here at the bottom right corner to zoom in, just zoom in as much as possible just so that we can have the numbers a little bit bigger and we can see it better. All right, this is a good size. So let's go ahead and follow the instructions. So the first one says click on cell A1 to make it active. That's where we have our title. And we're going to click on the Sales Styles button, which is on the Home tab. So if we look at the different tabs here across the top, we have File, and then the next one is Home. When you press Home, you'll get the ribbon for this particular tab, and under the group Styles, we'll click on Sales Styles. So click on that drop-down menu, and you'll be able to see a variety of choices here. As you hover over the different options with your mouse, you can see that cell A1 is changing depending on where I'm pointing with my mouse. So this particular instruction says point to the title cell style in the titles and headings area. So here's titles and headings. I'm gonna go scroll through the right, heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, 4, and then the next one is title. You can go ahead and experiment as your textbook suggests by putting your mouse over the different options, and you can see how cell 1 is changing accordingly. All right, but here they're asking us to choose the title option, so I'm gonna click on it, and then my title has changed to a bigger font and a blue color. Step 2 says we're going to change the subtitle. So press or click on cell A2 where we have our subtitle monthly estimates, and we want to change the font this time. So we're going to click the font arrow again on the Home tab. We're in the font group this time. So right here, right now we have Calibri as our font type. If I click on that down arrow for the drop down menu, I can scroll down through all the different types of fonts. See that as I point at the different types, the font type is changing on cell A2. Right? Can you see that? All right, so we are looking for a particular font size called Arial Narrow, a particular font type. All right, so here it is, Arial Narrow. I'm gonna click on it, and I have changed my subtitle to that specific font type. Next, we want to apply bold style to a cell. So this will make the font a little bit darker. So here are the steps. We want to go back to cell A1, the title cell, or the title of the worksheet. So we have that cell active right now. And then we're going to click on the bold button, which is also on the Home tab. This one is in the font group. All right, so if you see this capital B here for bold, you can just click on that, and it'll change that font to the bold style. Another option is I'm going to undo this action with this back arrow. So I'm going to undo that option. just so that I can show you a different way of doing it. I can use a shortcut, and this is a shortcut that I use frequently. If you hover your mouse over that capital B for the bold style, you'll see that in parentheses it says the shortcut for that option is Control B. So if I have active cell A1 active and I press Control B on my keyboard, I achieve the same goal, right? Putting that particular cell in the bold style. All right, let's keep moving through the steps. Next, we want to increase the font size of a cell entry. So the instruction says with cell A2 selected, we're going back to the subtitle. We're going to click the font size arrow, which is in the Home tab font group. So we're in Home tab font group right here next to the font style. You see right now we have it on a size of 11. That's the font size. Click on the drop down menu to select a different size. So you can again move across the different font sizes and see what happens when you choose them, right? In order to choose the final option, I want to click on size 16. So that's the font size that we're choosing for the subtitle. All right. So experiment again with different font sizes, different font styles. Next, we are going to click on cell A1 again. So in this next test, we're going to change the font color of a cell entry. So we're going to work with the title again of the worksheet. The instruction says once you have selected A1 as your active cell, we're going to click the font color arrow, which is going to be on the font group. So it looks like a letter A here, underlined with a red line. As you can see, when I click on the drop-down menu, we'll have the different font colors. All right. So again, experiment by moving your mouse throughout the different colors and see what happens to your active cell. The instructions ask us to select green accent 6, which is column 10. So each of this is a column. The last one is 10 on the first row. So that's the color we want to choose. I'm going to click on it, and there we go. My title is now in that specific shade of green. Next, we're going to click on cell A2. We're going to do the exact same thing for the subtitle. We want to change the font color to the exact same color. So since we have already selected here, I can just click on that A on that specific font color. I don't have to look for it again on the drop-down menu. All right, let's keep moving. Our next task is to center a cell entry across columns by merging the cells. So we want to do this for the title of our worksheet and also for the subtitle. So the instruction says select cell A1 and drag to cell N1 to highlight the range to be merged and center. So left click with your mouse, drag it all the way to N1. So what I'm trying to do here is converge all of those cells into just one long cell. I'm going to merge them in order to achieve that, and then I'm going to center that title across all of those columns. So once I have that range selected, under the alignment group, we're going to press merge and center, which is that little box that has arrows pointing in both directions. All right, so there we go. Now that range has become just one single cell, and my title is center across that range of cells. Next, we're going to do the exact same task with the subtitle. So let's go ahead and press A2, drag it all the way to N2, and click on merge and center. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to our next step. We're going to format rows using different styles. So this time we want to format our row 3, where we have our headings, right? So income, and then all the months from January to December plus the total. So the instruction says click cell A3 and then drag to cell N3 to select that range. I've selected that range already. Then click the cell styles button. This is under the home tab again. We're going to the styles group, sales styles, the same one that we had used earlier for our title. All right, this time we want to go to heading 1. So under the titles and headings, we want to select heading 1, and we are going to click to change the style of that particular row. We'll repeat the same process with the expenses row. So click on sales styles and we want to use heading 1. So now that I have applied the heading 1 sales style format to both rows 3 and 8, I want to go ahead and center them. I'm going to highlight those ranges, so cell A3 to N3, and in order to do both simultaneously, what I can do is press Control on my keyboard. While holding Control, use my mouse, left click to highlight or select the other range, which is A8 to N8. I can go ahead and release my mouse, release Control. As you can see, I have both rows or both ranges selected now. So in the Home tab, Alignment group, this icon allows you to center those cells. So click on it, and there we go. Now they're centered. Let's go ahead and press on cell A1 just to deselect those previous ranges. Step 4 says format the ranges A6 to N6. So I'm going to select it, A6 to N6, and then also A17 to N17. I'm going to press Control to be able to do both at the same time. A17 to N17. I can release my mouse, release Control, and then the instruction says use the total cell style format. So under Sales Styles, we're going to go to the one on the last column, Total. Click on it, and I have now applied that particular cell style to those rows. Next, it says to format the range A19 to N19. So let's scroll down a little bit. Here is A19 to N19, and we want to apply the accent 6 cell style format. So cell styles, and we want to go to accent 6. All right, so this green one. Next, we want to format the ranges A4 to N4. Scroll up, A4 to N4, and also A9 to 9. Press Control. So the rent row, and A11 to N11. Press Control. Also A13 to N13, so essentially every other row. And A15 to N15. And we want to apply the style 20% accent cell 6. So I'm going to release my mouse and Control, go to the Sales Styles, last column, we want to do 20% accent 6. So it's a lighter shade of green. Click on it, and there we go. All right, always click in another cell, an empty cell, to deselect those previously selected ranges. Next, we're going to format the other rows. So we want to select A5 to N5, the interest row. Press Control. Also A10 to N10, 12 to 12, A12 to N12, A14 to N14, and then the last one, A16 to N16. And let's see, this time we want to apply the 40% accent 6. So go to Sales Styles, last column, this one is the one in the middle, 40% accent 6. So a slightly darker shade of green relative to the previous cells. All right, so now it's looking much more similar to the output that we want to achieve, right, to our final worksheet. Let's go ahead and move on to the next section. This time we're going to format the numbers in the worksheet. So step 1 says select the range B4 to N4. All right, B4 to N4. We're going to be formatting the numbers this time. It says click the accounting number format button under the Home tab, number group. to apply the accounting number format to the cells in the selected range. All right, so home tab, number group, right here in the center. The one that looks like a dollar sign is the one that gives us the accounting number format. So this particular format adds a dollar sign and also 2 decimal places. So let's click on it. Also, as you can see, the columns all of a sudden became wider, and it's because this option also adjusts the columns width to the longest value in the cells. Right? So as you can see now, we can see all the numbers clearly with the dollar sign, a 1,000 comma separator, and also 2 decimal places. Next, we're going to select the range B5 to N5, so the interest row. We want to do all the way that to the end to column N. So once you select it, the instruction says click the comma style button, which is under the home tab, number group as well. So let's look for it here, and it's the one that looks like a comma style. This particular style is going to give us 2 decimal places and a 1,000 separator. All right, so there we go. Next, we're going to select the range B6 to N6. So B6 to N6, the total for the income category. So once that we have those as our active cells, we want to apply the accounting number format as well. So we'll press the dollar sign in the number group. All right, we get the dollar sign, 2 decimal places. Format the ranges B9 and 9. So let's select those cells, the rent row all the way to column N, and also B17 to N17. So I'm going to press Control, B17 to N17, keep Control press, and also B19 to N19. So the net figure. All right, once we have those 3 selected, those 3 rows, we want to apply the accounting number format. So that's the dollar sign in the number group. Perfect. All right, next we want to format the range B10 to N16. So notice that this B10 is column B to N16. It's a different column. So now instead of a cell, making that range a row, we're going to make it a matrix, right? So B10, and the way you select this is select the first number in that range. So B10 to N16. So you're going to move down and to your right to select that entire matrix all the way to N16. And we're going to use the comma style format. So press in the comma, and then we're going to click on cell A1 to deselect that matrix. All right, next we're going to adjust the column width. So in order to do this, we're going to point to the boundary on the right side of column A, right in between columns A and B. As you can see, when I point there, I get the pointer changes to a split double arrow. And if I double click on it, it will adjust the width of that column. It adjusts it so that it fits the longest value or text in that particular column, right? So we will be able to see the text on all of those cells. Next, the instructions say to repeat these steps for all the columns from column B through column N. So I could do this manually, but in order to do this more efficiently, another alternative is we could select all of the headers, all of the columns. So here from say column A to column N, and we're going to go to the home tab under the cells group. Right here it is, and under format, click on that drop down menu, so the little arrow pointing down to open that drop down menu, and you'll see an option here, fourth option from top to bottom. It says auto fit column width. So if I click on that, all those columns would be automatically adjusted to fit the widest cell value, right? So that way we're able to see all of them. In this last part of our video tutorial, we're going to learn how to create a pie chart and how to add it to our worksheet. So according to our requirements document in Figure 2, the budget worksheet that we're creating should include a pie chart to graphically represent the yearly expense totals for each item in Frangold Real Estate's budget. Now, the purpose of this pie chart is to show the contribution of each type of expense to our total expenses, so relative to the total size of the pie. We're going to replicate then the pie chart shown in Figure 172, and we're going to add it to a separate sheet called a chart sheet. This pie chart in the separate chart sheet will be linked to the data in the book that we have created. So let's go ahead and follow the steps. Step 1 says select the range A9 to A16. So these are the names of our expenses, A9 to A16. Next, I'm going to need a range with the totals for each of these expenses, which are located on column N. Since I need to go ahead and highlight a non-adjacent cell of cells, I'm going to press Control, hold it down, and go to column N, select cells N9 to N16. I can release both my mouse and the Control key. Now that I see both columns selected with the names of my expenses and the totals for each category, I can go ahead and click on Insert on our ribbon. So Insert, and then in the Charts group, we're going to click on the one that looks like a pie. If you click on that drop-down menu right next to the pie, you'll see different types of pie charts. The instructions are asking us to use a 2D chart, so select that one, click on it, and there we go. We have our chart. Now we're going to have to make some formatting changes to our chart. So let's go ahead and follow the next step. We're going to click on the chart title. Right now it just says chart title. So click on it with your mouse, select it, and you can go ahead and delete it and enter monthly expenses. So type in monthly expenses. All right, click anywhere on the blank space in that chart. So now that we see our title, let's go ahead and apply a different style to our chart. So the instruction says, click the chart styles button to the right of the chart. As you can see on the right hand side of the chart here, there are 3 options, a plus sign, one that looks like a paintbrush. That's the one we need to click on. This will allow us to change the chart style. So go ahead and click on it, and you'll be able to see a gallery of different styles. You can scroll down through them. As you put your mouse over the different types of charts, you'll see the style number. So we're looking for style 6. All right, so we have number 4. Keep scrolling through the different styles. That's 2, 5, and this is number 6. So I'm going to click on it, and I will assign that particular chart style to my chart. All right, once we have selected this particular style, let's go ahead and move the chart to a new sheet. So as I mentioned earlier, right now we have the chart on our same sheet where we created the workbook. If you take a look at the bottom left corner of your screen, you'll see a tab here named Sheet 1, right? So that's the sheet where we have our workbook and the chart that we just created. Our goal is to move this chart to a new sheet, and they're going to be added here as separate tabs right next to Sheet 1, so on the bottom left corner of your screen. All right, so to move the chart, let's go ahead and click the Move Chart button, which is on the Chart Tools Design tab. As you may have noticed, once we press Insert Chart, a few other options were added here to the ribbon, so new tabs. Right next to the very last one, Format, we have one called Chart Design. So in this tab, if we go to the last option on the right, you'll see here Move Chart. So go ahead and press that, Move Chart, and we'll get this dialog box where we have 2 different boxes. The first one says New Sheet, and then the other one says object in. So right now our object, which is our chart, is located in sheet 1. We actually want to move that to a new sheet. So I'm going to click on new sheet, and I'm going to delete chart 1 with backspace on my keyboard. We want to assign this chart a new name. The instruction says to type monthly expense chart. All right, so once we have the new name, simply press OK. As you can see now, our chart has been moved to a completely different sheet. On the bottom left corner, you can see that we have now 2 tabs. Sheet 1, if you click on it, that's where our workbook is. And then the next one is monthly expense chart, which is the one that we just created. And that's where our chart is now located. All right, let's go ahead and learn how we can change the tab name and the color of a tab. So this time I want us to double click the sheet tab label sheet 1. So double click on it. As you can see, the name of it is now gray, so we can go ahead and change it. You can delete it and type monthly finances. So I deleted sheet 1 simply using backspace on my keyboard, and now I tab the new name called monthly finances. You can go ahead and just press enter. And as you can see now, we have the 2 new tabs, monthly finances and also our monthly expense chart. Next, we're going to change the color of that new tab. So go ahead and right click on that sheet tab, the one labeled monthly finances. Right click with your mouse. And then you'll see that will come up the sheet in the screen. We'll see a new drop down menu, and we want to choose tab color. As I click on tab color, I see a set of different options. The one we want to choose is green accent 6, is in column 10, row 1. So we had used that green before, right, for our cells. Click on it, and now as you can see, our tab named monthly finances is in that shade of green that we chose. So we've made great progress in our sheet. This is a good time to take a little break and save our work up to this point. So let's go to File and press Save. We don't need to press Save As this time, as we already have assigned a name to the file and we already have a location for the file. Another way in which you can save your word is simply press Ctrl S on your keyboard, or also you can use this purple disk. We use that icon because before flash drives were created, we used to save our data in disks that look just like that, right? So that icon also is equivalent to the option Save or Ctrl S if you want to use shortcuts. Now that we have completed our textbook project, we can go ahead and submit it on MindTab. But perhaps before you want to submit it, you want to print it out just so that you can compare it to the figure given in your textbook and you can make sure that they're identical. In order to print this worksheet, let's go to File in the ribbon, click on File, and this will take you to the Backstage view. If you look at that vertical menu, click on Print, and here there are several options that you will have to adjust. So first, we can see the number of copies at the very top. You can use that arrows going up and down to adjust the number of copies that you want to print. Next, you want to select the correct printer. Notice that usually by default, your printer will be set up to Microsoft Print to PDF. This will allow you to create a PDF file, an electronic file, as opposed to printing it on paper on an actual printer. So in that drop down menu, make sure that you select your printer. I'm going to take this first one, and then we want to print the active sheet. That's what we can see right now. We can also change the type of paper. Right now we have selected letter paper, which is 8.5 by 11, and then landscape orientation. Sometimes this will be set to portrait orientation, as you can see, in a vertical orientation. This only allows me to see up to July, but if I change that to landscape orientation, I can see that it fits better on my sheet of paper. I still cannot see all the months. I can only see to September, and if I print it this way, Excel is going to print two different sheets, one up to September and then from October to December. I probably don't want to do that. I don't want to have two sheets with my file. So in order to adjust that, I can use this option at the very bottom that says no scaling. If you click on it, you can change to one of these options to make sure that it fits properly. All right, so we can do a fit sheet on one page. When I do that in my printer, it becomes really small. So I'm going to try something different. How about let's fit all the columns on one page, because that's really the problem that I was having. I could only see up to September. Okay, so now it looks perfectly. I have all the columns and all the rows on one sheet. So I can go ahead and press print, and I will get my print out of my worksheet. All right, so now you can go ahead and save your file one last time. File, save, and close it, and make sure you submit it on MindTap. There are instructions on how to do that in your course intro and resources folder. I posted a video tutorial there on how to submit homework on MindTap. Before we finish this video tutorial, I wanted to show you a couple more things. Be sure to keep following the instructions in your textbook for this module. There are a few more things that are shown in your textbook. I'm not going to cover all of them, as the purpose of this video tutorial is help you to complete this textbook project. But there are two things that are worth mentioning. One is how to use the automatic calculation options. If you select a certain row or column, let's first say, for example, we want to select the range B19 to M19, right? So the net amounts from January to December. If you look here at the bottom of the screen, there are some automatic calculations that are done by Excel. We see that the average of those net figures is 12,883.33. Count, that's the number of items that we have selected, 12. And then we also have a sum of 154,600. You can adjust the number or the types of auto calculations that are displayed there. If you right click on your status bar, you will get this menu to customize your status bar. And as you can see in this section, we have those items that are displayed as automatic calculations. So average, count, and sum right now have a check mark, which is why we have those displayed at the bottom of our screen. Let's say that I wanted to also have the maximum displayed. I could click on it. Now it has a check mark. And if you see in this area here at the bottom of the screen, the maximum value for that range has been added. If you wanted to get rid of that, just right click on that area where we have the auto calculations, click on maximum, the check mark will disappear, and now the maximum value disappears from that option. All right, and then one final thing that is very useful when we are unfamiliar with a certain function or something in Excel and we want to learn more about it, the help option is very useful. So go to the help tab in the ribbon and then select that question mark that says help. All right, so here you will have a search box where you can type in something and search for it, more information about it. For example, let's say that we want to learn more about Excel functions. So I type on functions and I will have a list of possible categories, things that I need to do research on. Let's say that I want to want to learn more about Excel functions by category. So I click on it, and here I will have several tutorials. Maybe I want to learn the date and time function. So I click on it, and then I will have a description of how to use them. Some of these help functions are also displayed on the icons on the different buttons. So if I go back to the Home tab on my main ribbon, let's say that I want to learn more about this particular function here. I'm going to press the Format Painted button, the one that looks like a little paintbrush. And then if you put your mouse over it, hover over it, at the bottom you can see that Tell Me More link with a question mark. If you click on it, you would get more information about that specific function. One last option to search for help is to use the box at the top of the screen where you can search for any specific topic. Just type something. Let's say that we want to learn about grid lines. Perhaps I want to learn how to hide grid lines on a spreadsheet. So I'm going to type grid lines. Here it says there's a question mark that says show or hide grid lines on a worksheet. So I'm going to click on that. And again, I'm going to get information and specific instructions on how to do that. You can close this help pane by clicking on that X, and then we go back to normal. All right, I hope that you have enjoyed this video tutorial. Please, as I mentioned earlier, be sure to follow all the instructions in your textbook, as those tasks will also be assessed in future projects and in your exams. See you in the next video.